How's it going, guys? Motor City Miner here, coming at you from my basement mini miner farm, just like I said I would, because that's right, my AL0s have arrived. I ordered 2 to go along with my 2 AL boxes from Goldshell over there. So we're gonna break these open. I was dumb and I completely forgot that I needed PSUs for these. So we're actually gonna temporarily pull offline some of my older KS0s. They're non-pros. They don't make much money. Well, they don't make any money on cast, but they are mining some other K-heavy hash algos, some of those forks, so not much risk taking them offline until I order some more PSUs for these new guys, because I completely just mind blanked on that and forgot. But so we're gonna take 2 offline, throw these 2 up there, and go through the whole setup process. I don't know what pools work on the AL0, so I would prefer to use Vipor, but as I mentioned in my last video, even the AL boxes needed specific pool settings to operate properly, so I am not sure if these will in fact work on a Vipor. We will find out. And then we'll get obviously into my ROI calcs, which have been massively skewed today because Bitmain dropped the hammer and dropped, I think it was like almost 3 petahash onto Antpool today with their units. So perfect timing, I guess, for all of us just getting our IceRivers. But, you know, was to be expected at some point, just didn't know when. So looks like that's happened, and yeah, we're gonna see how that affects our ROI calcs. But yeah, first we gotta set these up. So let's get to it and open these up. So opening these up, they will indeed come with what we've come to know as the IceRiver red foam, super heavy duty, probably the best packaging I've seen on miners. At least ASICs comes from IceRiver, and this stuff is, at this point, almost, you know, an identity on itself. But yep, I got them here, so we'll get this one out. I already got one out, and it does come with the new branding stickers, so AL0, and the setup looks very similar to all your other KS0s. It does look like there's less heat dissipation fins, so there's only 4 there, which if we look at like a Pro, actually I guess the Pro only had 4 too. I think it was the Ultra that they added a whole bunch. Actually, here's my original ones. The originals had a ton. So I guess they've been very inconsistent all the time. Went from having a ton of those fins to only 4. This one only has 4. And like I said, the Ultra also has a ton. So I don't know why they keep changing it up, but you know, whatever. Let's find out. So yeah, we're gonna set up these guys and get them going. All right, we got them both up. Swapped out those old KS0s for AL0s. We'll put those back online once I get more power supplies, like I said. But yep, got these hooked up, got USB fans on them, which should be fine for now. Again, no overclocking available at the moment, so just putting USB fan will be plenty fine. And you know, a lot of these units lately like to run a little hot to get best hash rate anyway, so should be fine. But yeah, we're gonna hop on over to the computer, see if we can find these units, and you know, get them set up, see what pools they work on. Well, see if they work on the pool I want them to work on, and go from there. We're in the computer now, as you can easily tell. I got both of my AL0s found and got their login pages up. Again, there's multiple ways to find your IP, so I'm not going to go through that process, but you know, you can use your router if you can access your router. There's an IceRiver tool on their website. There's a whole bunch of ways. So you're just going to want to obviously go to that address. I do have my ROI calc updated with some of that fancy information you guys have requested. So this is now, I mean, these numbers aren't up to date, so we'll update these, but I have effectively added another section that is talking ELF ROI calcs versus USD ROI calcs. As your USD will obviously depend on the value of ELF on any specific day, and I did that for the FOMO calcs as well, so we'll get into that a little bit. I got the pool I want to connect to. Again, I am going to mine to a different address. This is my AL box Goldshell address. I have created a new address. So this is the AL box one. I am going to track these separately. They will be working towards, a cumulative ROI for my entire investment in ALPH ASICs, but I do want to track these AL0 separately, so I have created a new address on the lithium chain, and then got the lithium explorer just in case we want to check anything out there, and I also have uh, this giant monolithic spike that we saw earlier today on the lithium network as Antpool went from being a nobody on a lithium to a somebody as Bitmain decided to power up some of their units. So exciting stuff there. But yeah, have this up just so we can talk about this as well. So first, though, we are going to hop over to our login page. Defaults are admin, and password is 1 through 8. Do not put 9 or 0, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is your login. Look at that. You can see this has been up and going. Look at that. Look at it just hovering around. Doing real well so far. We'll do one at a time for you guys. Oh, and this is their default stuff. That's why I had the Explorer open. I did want to see how much they have pre-mined to the addresses in the software they're using. So let's go check out their wallet here. Elf balance only 30. Huh. Something tells me they have been sending some out, but maybe not. Let's see. No, these are all deposits so far. Interesting. Interesting. So very little pre-mine on this specific unit. I do wonder if they use different addresses. More than likely they do. And the first one on this address was 24 days ago. So interesting there. Let's log into the other one and see if it has indeed the same address. Again, you can change your password at any time. I recommend it, and I will change them, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. And I believe this is the same address, but we'll make sure there's no character differences. We'll throw that in here. Pretty confident it's the same. It is. So my two specific units, it does not look like the address they have been using, at least for my AL0s, has a lot of pre-mine value into them. Again, that doesn't mean much of anything. They can use a whole bunch of different addresses, or maybe they decide to change these right before they ship them. I don't really know. I know on the Caspa one, their wallets that were defaulting these were absolutely monster-sized wallets. So a little smaller this time. So we'll start the process of changing these out because I want to be earning, not them. So on the left is your typical stuff for any IceRiver at this point. Home, mining settings, this is where we're going to change that type of stuff. IP settings, that's if you want to do static or anything like that. User settings is where you do your password, which I do recommend doing. And firmware upgrade, and this is if they ever have any firmware upgrades, or if you're doing some overclocking, but that is not yet available for these units. One last thing on the firmware upgrade, I did confirm on their website that there is not currently an updated firmware directly from IceRiver at this time. So whatever comes with stock is the only option. There is no like hot fix or anything like that that has been released. Hopefully that means there's no issues, but I assume at some point they'll have it posted on their website or a new version because that has happened with all their miners. So just keep an eye on their website if you are having issues with your units, any of your IceRiver units, that is, and keep an eye on firmware upgrades and updates. So we're going to head on over to mining settings now, and we're going to start doing some information here. Right now, I'm not going to touch the fan speed. We'll start playing with that a little more after these get going for a while. I am going to first delete out all this information because I don't need it. So you'll want to delete all this out. I have heard rumblings that you have to actually input all these, so we'll see if that holds true here. I'm not 100% sure. Typically, I only put one because I don't like ASIC failover pools. They tend to not really work well. So what other people were doing was putting all the same. Um, so we'll see if it forces me to do anything here though. So what you're gonna want to do, you're gonna want to, again, we're gonna try Vipor first. So here we go. This is your get started. Northeast is my closest, so I'm gonna do um, this guy here, and oh, that's nice. It shows that it's Goldshell AL box ready. But we don't know if it's AL0 ready though, so we're gonna find that out here. Exciting stuff. Wallet worker. Again, we're gonna use our new address, so we're gonna use this guy. You're gonna want to copy your wallet, put that in first, then put a period, and then your worker name. I am calling mine AL0, and this is gonna be number 1. Um, and password, just put X, and we'll do a save and see. Pool address format is incorrect. So yeah, it is giving me the error that others were mentioning. So I guess you will have to fill out all of these. So we will put them all the same for now. I, again, do not like actually switching pools automatically on here, because like, even if you have like just a brief millisecond drop in connection, it will switch to a failover pool, which is just completely unnecessary. So we have updated that. So it should go there. We'll go back to the main page, see if it switches over, uh, and updates all this information. I assume it'll take a little bit here. There it goes. It looks like we already have 2 accepted shares. I have no idea why it's on pool 2, but this is exactly why if I do have to fill them all in, I put all the same. We're going to do this on our other unit as well, and then we will pick up once they've registered on the pool. Be right back. So we are on the pool page now, and you can see I just refreshed. Both units are now showing up. Obviously, they're not at full hash rate yet. That'll take some time and averages over time on the pool side, but we do have both units showing up here, both AL0-1 and AL0-2, binding to this new address that currently has 0 alpha in it. So we'll be good to keep track. I do have my other page up. This is my AL boxes. As we've talked about, still averaging right around what they're supposed to, 360 gigahash each at 180 watts, so definitely less efficient than these AL0s. Honestly, Goldshell is just kind of letting everyone down all the time. It seems like just an inferior product. It seems on a lot of things, whether it's Caspa, Alethium, or really anything at this point. But yeah, I figure while we're waiting to see a little longer, because if I hop back over this, I want to get 24 hours of actual earnings before I really dive into like the FOMO calcs, and that is mainly because the network hash rate is all over the place right now. I mean, it's spiking and dropping and spiking and dropping, and no one knows what's going on. So definitely all over the place. It's really hard to know what your 24-hour earnings are at the moment. So definitely going to want to wait at least 24 hours till I get an actual value here for how much I've earned in 24 hours for use in my FOMO calcs. I'm going to snap my fingers, and the next thing you know, it's going to be 24 hours from now. It will, instead of the 26th of August, it will be the evening of the 27th, and we'll have some updated ROI numbers for you guys in just a moment. So it has been actually a little more than 24 hours because, well, I don't know if you heard, but there was a major storm that came through the Midwest, and, well, my power went out. So if we hop over to the pool page and I go to the multi-day past 3 days, you will see I was getting pretty close to having 24 hours of data, and then the power went out. And it went out for a long time. So um, only just recently got a full days of solid data. So we are now back, and that is true for both these because these are at my basement farm. So they don't have any special provisions for power. The warehouse rarely, if ever, loses power, and that's because it's in a giant industrial complex. All the power's underground, so generally speaking, unless there's something absolutely crazy that happens, like a giant transformer explosion or something, the farm is typically spared from power outages. But my home is not, and we had a bad storm, so we're gonna have to do some updating because it has been more than 24 hours. So let's quickly double check our costs on Alethium. It has actually gone up in the last few days. We're at 1.933. So we'll throw that into our calculator at the moment. 1.933. And this one we'll put 1.933 because again, we were waiting to hold off on doing these ROI calcs because I didn't know how much I'd be making per day now that the hash rate has skyrocketed so much. So, but let's get to it. So first we're going to do my daily ELF for me. So as you can see, if I go to my actual earnings, this is my AL0s averaging right around 800 like it's supposed to. We had 4.8, and then my right around 720, which is right around what the Goldshell should be making, is 720 gigahash, which is 4.3. So 4.3 and 4.8, that's going to be 9.1. All right, cool. So 9.1 Alethium. So a little less than what I thought it was going to be the other day when I did this. And that should update that all there. And so that updated all our numbers. You can see that, oh, I should update these though, because these have also been a few days. So let's do a check. So we're at 2,386 on the AL boxes. So another 3 payouts because I do 5 increments of 5 at the moment. And we're gonna head on over, and we have started to get payouts on the AL0, so we're at 15. There we go. So we can actually put a number here. There we go. So we're now at 2,401 CASPA yielded from my ASIC miners, which essentially moves our days to ROI on the yield front is 460 versus days to ROI on the USD front, which is 554. So again, usually it's kind of weird. Normally it's the days to ROI in USD is less in my experience than the yield, but again, that's because when I bought these units, at least during the bear market, what I just said is true. But oddly, during this bear market, Alpha was worth more when I bought these miners than currently. So let's get into our FOMO calc. So one AL0, we would expect to make half of what my 2 are making. So we're at 4.8. So that would be 2.4. So let's throw that in there. 2.4. That's how many ELF you'd be making at $1.93 a day. Again, your net right now, the cheapest these go for is $7.99. You're going to be making about $4.64 a day. Days to ROI 172. And again, all this is the same. That ELF, this is if you had bought it. When was this? The other day. No, this is today. Sorry, I made this equation update to the current price. So if you bought your AL0 today, you could have bought 413 ELF instead. But your days to ROI is going to be 172. And obviously on this calculator, your FOMO calc, these two are always going to be the same because I'm calculating on this exact day that I'm filming. So if you bought ELF that day or bought the miner that day, obviously you're spending the same amount of money on that specific day. It's only over time that you see deviations like in my calc here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Again, this number is it's a lot better than if it was just my AL boxes. So it's effectively what I've done is I've dollar cost averages. It's still very high, but for a larger miner like me, 1 year ROIs are not unheard of. Again, most big farms don't expect ROI for 18 months. But yeah, if I type in this 4.3 from, say I was only making from the Goldshell boxes 4.3, and that was my daily ELF, you would see that it would effectively ROI pretty much never. So the dollar cost averaging is helping these numbers out considerably. I mean, over 1,000 on the ROI day. Yes, this is a little skewed because my calculator is still factoring in that I bought $1,600 worth in AL0s. So it's not quite as bad as it looks here, but it's pretty close. Probably be right around 1,000. This one would probably be right around 900, which are both awful. So by dollar cost averaging, getting this to that 9.1 is definitely helping considerably. I mean, effectively cuts all those in half. So that's again how you can dollar cost average your equipment. Not saying you should or shouldn't. It's just what I chose to do in this case, just because my AL boxes are looking rather dire. But yeah, it's obviously a lot better if you just bought your first AL0 and only bought one, because your investment's only $800 instead of the tens of thousands that I did. Um, do I think I'll actually, ROI on this either in USD or in ELF yield? I'll probably get pretty close. I think the AL0s are definitely going to help, because even at the slower earning, I do think those will do decently. I mean, 172, as you're seeing here, if you just bought them, I've already bought them. They're already here. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if mine actually hold to this, because again, these numbers will increase as more hash rate comes on. So if my AL0s ROI in 6 months or so, anything past that is actually helping pay off the Goldshell AL boxes. But again, I do think those Goldshell AL boxes are going to kind of max out at probably 70-80% ROI. So they are kind of a loss to me. In that specific case, should have probably just bought the ELF. But again, I'm a miner. I don't like trading. I don't do stocks. I like mining. And I can write off my expenses, and I can get some return on investment when I eventually sell the miners. So, which again is never factoring into any equation. It's really hard to factor it in because you don't know how much they're going to be worth when you do sell them. I do try to time my sells so that it's, not the peak, but in a time and an environment where machines are desirable. So I do plan to hold on to most of my machines. I have been selling some GPUs just because I really want some new ones, and some of mine are really old, so I did get rid of pretty much all my 20 series and 5000 series GPUs. But for the most part, I try to hold on to my equipment until the next cycle is well underway and things are worth a little more. So that's what I'm seeing here. Comment down below if you're thinking of FOMOing AL0. Again, not financial advice. I personally think you probably, right around a year would be my guess. Usually double what I'm calculating. But it could be worse, could be better. Who knows? Kind of a crapshoot. I just like mining, so you do you. It is a pretty low entry point, as a miner, and low wattage, so it pretty much is running for free. There might even be overclocks for it at some point. I know T-Swift's already working on some, so no promises there, but they are trying to see if they can release something. So that would obviously help any ROI as well. And if that does come to fruition, obviously I will do a video showing how to overclock your units and how that affects my ROI calcs. So that's all I got for today. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Until next time on my ALPH ASIC mining journey.